Welcome once again back to the lab. It is your old Professor Pilk, and of course today we need to talk about the brand new raid that was just announced. Now, there's a lot to discuss here. Well, there's a decent amount to discuss. Basically, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be having the pseudos. All the big pseudos are incoming over the next few weeks here. And Tyranitar is going to be the first one. He is going to have a Ghost Tera. These are confirmed to be 7 stars, and they will have the mightiest mark. So these are going to be really special to have. That does mean, yes, out of this event, you will have a 6 IV pseudo that you can, I say farm, but essentially you can get one of each. I mean, that's just kind of the way these work. But a legitimate, full-on 6 IV pseudo that you can use in, like, PvP or any kind of, like, other event like that. So this is a really awesome event. This is something you want to take advantage of. A lot of us have been excited for like the legendaries and things like that, and unfortunately we're going to have to wait a little bit of time. But if you harken back and if you remember back to the Pokemon Presents a little less than a month ago, it looks like there's 9 new raids in total coming. Now there's a reason I mentioned this, but it looks like Tyranitar. I'm going to guess this is probably in order. We don't know the Tera types, but Salamence, Metagross, Garchomp, Hydreigon, followed by Goodra, which I'm personally looking for. I love Goodra. Komo, another one I'm definitely looking forward to, and that one's going to kind of be scary because he's got access to Belly Drum. Dragapult, and Baxicalibur. So these guys are going to be interesting. And once again, all these are really like competitive Pokemon that we're going to get 6 IVs of, which is absolutely awesome. So when it comes to this specific raid, this is dropping on the, it says Friday. This will actually be running on Thursday night for most of us. And then essentially, end of the weekend, it's supposed to expire. I don't know why they do it that way. It's kind of silly to me because if you don't put your Switch online, it doesn't really actually expire. So you can continue really honestly farming this. And then it'll return the weekend after that. So this weekend, as well as the following weekend, March the 4th through the 6th, this will be running. Then I would imagine immediately after that, we'll get the next set of raids and the next set of raids. So really, you're looking with 9 total Pokemon. You're looking at another 18 weeks of just constant content that we can continue, farming up candies and Tera shards and things like that. Now, we won't know the Tera types of the other Pokemon basically until they drop, but Ghost-type Tyranitar, basically, I can almost guarantee you, he's going to have Shadow Claw. So the easiest way around that is to run like a normal type or a fighting type with a Stellar Tera and some good dark moves. We'll come up with some really good builds here over the course of the week, so make sure you guys tune in for that. But that's going to be the best way to kind of negate that because Shadow Claw's got a high crit rate. And it's going to get a big boost, from that damage. But being, a dragon type, he's going to have dragon moves and things like that. I wouldn't even be surprised if he had access to like a fighting move, which would make normal types questionable, which really makes me think like fighting types with a Dark Tera would kind of be your like best possible scenario. But nevertheless, guys, we'll talk about all this incoming. Now, like I said, this is another 18 weeks or so of content. So that tells me that on the back side of this, there's probably something coming. So if you count down 18 weeks, that basically takes us to the end of July, the beginning of August. And they did say late in the year for Legends EA, but by that point, the Switch 2 is going to be coming out, or if not already coming out. And there's going to be, this just gives you a general timeline of what to expect. And that does kind of coincide because I do want to say that the shiny legendaries for Sword and Shield dropped around the same time that this game dropped. So, obviously we're talking about Scarlet and Violet specifically. So with Legends EA on the way out at that point, that means that it's almost guaranteed here that we will start getting some of the legendary raids and things like that. Essentially, for those people that don't adopt Legends EA right out of the gate, there's going to be a lot still to do in Scarlet and Violet. Probably some, like they did with EV, GameStop, maybe even Best Buy level events, online events, mystery gifts, things like that. Now, if you've been following the gift code videos that I've been dropping, we haven't had a gift code or we haven't had a good one in a really long time. So I would not be surprised if they did a big revamp over the summer and then, culminate in this hype train for Legends ZA as it drops, or even the Switch 2 and all that. Maybe even like for early Switch 2 adopters, maybe even some really big rewards regarding the shiny legendaries or, other things in the game. So who knows? Like, there's just so much to come. I don't think this is the end of it by a long shot. In fact, like I said, you've got guaranteed 18 weeks of just continual raids and content to come. And all these are competitive mon, and a lot of these, when Pokemon Home is opened up for Legends ZA, will probably be compatible with that game. If not, we'll probably get quite a few that are. I mean, remember, there's well over 1,000 Pokemon in, the overall national dex now, and over 600 of them were brought into this current game. And there's no telling how many are going to be able to be brought in the next game. So who knows? And maybe this might also be a hint that these guys are going to Mega Evolve. I have to double check because I know a lot of these guys Mega Evolve. So this actually could be a hint. Hear me out. Tyranitar's got a Mega. Salamence has a Mega. And Metagross and Garchomp all have Megas. Hydreigon does not. Goodra does not. Kamo does not. Dragapult does not. And Baxcalibur does not. But these last few... Well, not... When was Goodra introduced? I gotta remember when Goodra was introduced. Okay, yeah, Goodra was Gen 6. So... I know... so they're almost going in order of generation, if you think about it. Although he's not Gen 1. But, sort of. Because he's Gen 5, Gen 6, Gen 7, Gen 8, and Gen 9. So it's not quite in order per se, but really darn close. Because if I recollect, I believe T-Tar and Salamence were both Gen 2. I'd have to double check that as well. Yeah. Well, hold on. T-Tar was Gen 2. Metagross was Gen 3. Salamence, Salamence definitely Gen 2. Gen 2 or Gen 3? Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to check that now. I stand corrected. Salamence was Gen 3, and I should know that because I literally just did the Gen 3 decks. Knock on whatever. So it's Gen 2, 2 Gen 3s, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So it's like whatever that dragon type-ish, I mean, with the exception of Metagross, pseudo Metagross just kind of being the only outlier here in that regard. But all those really important, really high competitive pseudos for each generation here really being represented with the exception of Gen 1. But that's interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah, I'm curious to see because once again, 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 9 Mega. So I wonder if this is a hint as to what's coming for the next game as far as Megas go. Let me know what you guys think. But anyway, new raid coming. We'll talk about all the potential move sets and things you want to do because that guy's going to hit like an absolute truck. He's really, really rugged and really defensive. But I think his special defense, if I recollect, isn't that great. So I think we've got some really good counters potentially incoming for him. But for now, like, comment, share, and I'll see you guys again for more Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, or really anything Pokemon.